Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Johnson. I'm the Business and Outreach Librarian at the Vernon Area Library. And before we get started, I just wanted to invite you to an upcoming program that we have at the library on Monday afternoon. We're hosting historian Leslie Goddard, who you might know. She has in the past done historical portrayals for us, but she's leading a lecture on the lost Chicago department stores at the library at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But I mention this because you might be interested in meeting a representative from the Illinois Treasury. We will have someone after the program outside in our cafe hosting a table with the iCash program. If you're familiar with iCash, that's great. If you're not, it's a program through the Illinois Treasury where they help people connect with lost monies that are just sitting with the Illinois Treasury. So they want you to claim your money. So that representative will be in the library's lobby from I think 2 to 4. It's either 1 to 4 or 2 to 4. Either way, if you attend Leslie's program, they will be out there waiting for you once that program ends at 2, and you can talk with them. Otherwise, they'll be at the library until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon that day. So come out and find your money. I'm going to put the link to register to attend Leslie's program in our chat. Otherwise, if you want to attend the iCash program, you don't have to register, but I do have a link with a little bit more information, not much more. There's not much more to say. iCash, free money, it's a great time. So come and talk to our representative there. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker, JD. He has been providing clarity and vision to successful people for nearly 15 years. JD has an undergraduate degree in chemical engineering from the University of Mumbai, India, and a master's degree in financial markets from the Stewart School of Business at IT Chicago. He's been using his expertise to maximize returns and improve the client experience. He's a proud husband to Dr. Kausha Kamani and the father of Siddhant Doshi, 10, and Soham Doshi, 7. Oh, that's so nice and cute. As a member of the Vernon Hills Indian Association, JD gives back to the community that he proudly serves. So if you seek clarity and vision, give him a call. We're going to learn a little bit more about if you can afford to retire. And so with that, I will hand it off to you. But just know that I'm behind the scenes. So if you have any technical issues, just say my name and I will appear. Otherwise, you can go ahead and present.
Thank you, Ashley, for the wonderful introduction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time out for today's presentation, Can You Afford to Retire? For those who don't know me, my name is Jagar Doshi. I go by JD. And if you cannot already tell, I'm from India. In my culture, they say that first you become an engineer or a doctor, and then you decide what you want to do with your life. So I'm a recovering chemical engineer from India. While studying engineering, I realized that my true passion is finance. And to pursue my dream further, I came to United States in 2002, and I did my master's from Stewart School of Business, IIT. Ever since, I have been, working in this profession. I started out as a stock analyst and gradually transitioned as a full-time financial planner in 2008. I consider myself fortunate to be in a profession where a little knowledge and dose of common sense goes a long way. My purpose in presenting to you today is to share with you the 10 critical questions every retiree should ask prior to their retirement. It's kind of groundbreaking. Am I ready? Social psychologists, they say that when people think of themselves in the future, it appears to them as if they are thinking of someone who is completely different, like a stranger on the street. There is a certain emotional disconnect between who you are today and who you will become in the next, say, 15 to 20 years. So the purpose of today's presentation is to look at our future self with the love and care that it truly deserves. The material that I have used for today's presentation comes from a book written by my mentor and partner, Dr. Jim Flanagan, Packing for Retirement. I'll make sure that that book is available at your local library. And as we move along, ask me any questions. You can put that in the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask me those questions. I always say that I'm married for the last 17 years. I have 2 boys. So answering questions is like my second nature now. So feel free to ask me questions. Everything that you're going to hear in today's presentation is strictly educational. Before making any changes to your financial plan, consult your financial advisor or tax advisor. Just in case if anybody is wondering how I would look with more hair, that's the picture that you can see. And hopefully I still have the same smile. Who we are. So my company's name is Bentron Financial. We provide comprehensive wealth management services to people at or near retirement. We are the fiduciary. What it means is that we have to provide the highest level of care to our clients. My office is in Downers Grove and I live in Vernon Hills. What we do, we give investment advice. We create estates, we settle estates, we do retirement planning, we manage assets, we do life insurance, we do annuities, 529 plans, everything. We are one-stop shop for all the financial needs of a family. So retirement, right? It's a big milestone, and retirement means different things to different people. In this picture, you can see 2 different people, one counting money and looking very happy, and in the other one, there is somebody who is working, maybe out of choice or need. Who wants to just retire? Nobody, right? We all want to rock up retirement. We want to have a successful retirement. In my opinion, retirement is not a destination, but a journey. And just like how every journey is, it will have its own challenges and complexities. Working with so many families over all these years, one thing that I have realized is that there are 3 key attributes towards a successful retirement. And they are, the number 1 is health. A lot of people think it should be wealth, but in my opinion, it is health. And I think we all can agree that one has to be in good health to pretty much enjoy anything in life, right? Be it taking a vacation, playing with your grandchildren. The healthier and more active you are, the better you feel, and the general level of satisfaction will go up. The second ingredient is wealth. Wealth is important. Ask someone who does not have wealth. I would rather have wealth and worry about paying taxes than not having wealth. It is important that you protect, grow, and spend wisely what you have. But there is also another concept about wealth, which comes from diminishing margin law of utility, where excess health don't bring happiness. Research shows that somebody making more than $300,000, their satisfaction level is pretty much equal to somebody making more than $70,000. Then what is happiness? Happiness is your positive attitude in life, right? Sometimes as we grow older, the life, it does not seem to be as beautiful as it once used to be when we were growing up. Research has shown that people with positive attitude towards life, they generally show higher level of satisfaction and happiness. And as they say, smile. It increases your face value and it is free. The first story and the only story for tonight that I would like to share is actually a no retirement story. Because the truth is, retirement is not guaranteed to anybody and it is not promised to anyone. Okay, so one of these days, after attending a presentation, a fine couple came to see me in my office. Let's call them the Newmans. Mr. Newman, all his life, had worked in the maintenance department of a local high school, and Mrs. Newman was a homemaker throughout her life, raising 3 children. As soon as I sat down with them, the first thing that they said was they are ready to retire. He turned 65, and that's what he thought people around him did, and he was ready to retire. As a matter of fact, the same day he had left a resignation letter on the superintendent's desk. So I said, congratulations, and I just started gathering basic information. The first question that I asked was, how much money have you saved? So he looks at her and she looks at him, and it's like, I don't know. And after a little bit of digging, they said $30,000, and they had never. So Mr. Newman had never invested in the retirement in the college retirement plan, and he was not going to get any pension. After doing some quick math, I realized that just with Social Security as their guaranteed stream of income, they will be spending more money on a monthly basis than bringing in. With their savings of $30,000, they will run out of money in tops 3 years. So how are they going to live after that? And who is going to give him a job after 3 years? So I had to break the news to them, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you are not ready to retire. And then I saw those keys that they wear on their belts, and I'm like, do you still have the keys to the office? And he's like, yes. I'm like, please go back and get the resignation letter. You're not ready to retire. So this is what happens when you don't plan. I know, as a matter of fact, that he worked till the last day of his life, and his wife, she died a few years ago in a subsidized living facility in Oak Park. So this is the kind of retirement that I don't promise anybody, and I don't wish for anyone. The next thing that I want to do is, I just want to do a quick self-assessment exercise. You might have got an email from Ashley, but I can share that document with you. So it's a simple self-assessment exercise. There is nothing scientific about it. We just created this exercise in our office. It's 22 questions, and those questions are divided in terms of finance, savings, and legal, right? Do you have written plan? Do you have financial goals? So all you do is you circle the answers that you have given yes for, and you count the number of yeses. If those yeses are more than 16, probably you're ready to retire. 16 to 15, there is some work to be done, but you are on good beginning. And if it's under than 5, then it's time to get busy. So as you can see, it's an assessment that just helps you to see where the gaps are in terms of financial plan, and the answers that you have given in no's. That's probably where you want to start in terms of your retirement plan. Let me go back to the slides. Any questions so far? All right. So what does the new retirement look like? Okay. Retirement has changed a lot, over so many years. Now, retirement is lasting longer because people are living longer. In the last 100 years, the life expectancy has gone up by staggering 25 years. That's a staggering number. Since people are living longer, they are working more because the money that you need in retirement has to last for a longer time. A lot of people, they are now semi-retired, they are working part-time. Maybe they are burned out, especially after COVID, maybe their priorities have changed. They want to spend more time with their families. They may want to work out of need, whatever might be the reason, but more and more people are working part-time. End of care is more expensive. 70% of the people say that they want to die at home, yet 85% of the people, they die in the hospital because that is where the care is provided. So end of life is more expensive. What I would like to start with is the 10 critical questions that every retiree should ask. And these are not tongue-in-cheek questions. These are sincere questions. And if you answer them sincerely, hopefully by the end of the night, you will get a good response in terms of your readiness to retire. The first question that I would like to ask is, how long do you expect to be alive? Ashley, did you get the crystal ball from my office that I asked you to get? I know, no one has a crystal ball. This is the first question that I ask people when they come and see me in my office. And they kind of look strangely at me, like, this is kind of a weird question to be asked. And I'm like, no, if you are in a planning business, this is an important question. How long am I planning your retirement for? Right? The first rule of my business is to know your customer. And if longevity is something that runs in your family, I should be aware of that. Let me give you my example. Toshis, we lived long. My grandparents, they died in their 90s. Okay. My partner, Dr. Jim Cunningham, the longest living male member in his family was 78. So now with better access to healthcare and other resources, if I have to create a retirement plan for myself, I would have 95 as my life expectancy. And for Dr. Flanagan, it would be 85. As you can imagine, it is easier to plan for a 15 to 20 years in retirement versus 25 to 30. Also, according to Society of Actuaries, a man who lives till age 65 is expected to live another 19 years, and a woman reaching age 65 is expected to live another 21 years. Scientists believe that more and more people are going to live in their hundreds in the coming decades. So if you cannot put a number to your life expectancy, you got to start with 95, because that's the way of the world now. Okay. The second question is, how long can or will you work? The answer to the first question kind of leads to the answer to the second question. So if you're expected to live longer, maybe working for a few more years will strengthen your retirement, right? Most people, they make more money during the end of their professional life than at the beginning. So if I'm expected to live till age 95, and if I decide to retire at age 65, then I am depending on my retirement income and assets for the next 30 years of retirement. So maybe working for a few more years will only strengthen my retirement. And also, I don't have to work full time as a financial planner. I like to teach math, so maybe I can work part-time as a math tutor. The idea is to do something that will keep you active and supplement your retirement income. Keep being active and finding meaning and purpose is one of very important thing that will bring you quality retirement. Okay. This is the question, what kind of spender are you? This is about your relationship with money. Who am I working with? Am I working with someone who has a champagne taste and beer budget, or with somebody who still has, the money from the second grade his or her mother gave him? I mean, they are savers. They just don't spend money, right? So this is what I say in a couple, if there is one who is a spender and one is a saver, they kind of balance each other out. If there are two savers, then there is no Friday fun night for you. And if there is one spender and one saver, then it normally ends in divorce. So what kind of spending habits you have, it is absolutely important to determine that. So you kind of work on how you're going to spend in retirement to maintain the same lifestyle. Are you an impulsive shopper? I am an impulsive shopper. I'm a big online buyer. So now what I've done is I've started, putting some constraints to my spending habits. I let the items stay in the cart for a few days and then decide whether I need those items or not. I have also gotten better with my returns. So it is not to say that, if you are, if you're retiring and if you are spender, you should turn frugal. As a matter of fact, the research shows that if you are a spender all your life, you will remain a spender even in retirement. You will not change your pattern or habits. So it's not, the idea is not to, turn frugal, but the idea is to identify your spending habits so you can budget accordingly. Okay. Do you trust others with your money? Your tax planner? Do you have a financial planner that you work with? Do you trust them with your money? I normally like to build a team. So it could be from a handyman to the guy who, who does my taxes. I just have one person that I trust with, and I like to do business with them, for a long time. And that's how I would like to build trust. So do you have someone that you can trust with your money? The next question that I would like to ask is, where will you live? For many, a house is a home and they're emotionally attached to it. And that is where they would like to take their last breath. But maybe what if, that house is not age friendly? A lot of these houses that you see around us is not built keeping longevity in mind. They have a lot of stairs. Some of them don't have, walk-in shower. So what if you can just imagine yourself where you can just drive in a heated garage, take an elevator to your apartment where everything is on the same level. You don't have to take stairs up and down to do your laundry. So what essentially you're trying to do is you're trying to eliminate all kinds of risk, slip risk, fall risk, all kind of this different risks that are associated with older age by design. I'll tell you one, from my own family, that my father-in-law, he lived in this apartment, which was on the 4th floor in a building without elevator. He lived all his life there, and it took him 2 knee surgeries and 10 years of our time to convince him. And now he has moved to another facility. So people are generally attached to their home, and maybe becoming more flexible in your retirement will eliminate all kind of risk that you will take it. The next question is, will you buy a second home? A lot of people, they buy second home in their retirement. Maybe it's an investment home. Maybe it's a home near to their children. Maybe it's a home that they will transition into. Whatever might be the reason you need a second home, if that is something that is on the cards, then you should plan for it accordingly. And you should make that part of your retirement plan. Okay. Will you buy primary residence in other city? So where are you moving from? From Chicago to San Francisco? Because that's going to be very expensive. My brother-in-law, they moved from Minnesota to San Francisco. The house in San Francisco, like 1,200 square feet house, is like more than $1 million. And if you move from Chicago to Knoxville, Tennessee, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So where are you going to move is important. Will you rent? Rent is no longer that 4-letter bad word. The rule of thumb is if you are going to stay in a facility or in a place for less than 10 years, you should rent rather than buy, so that you don't take all the risk associated with buying and selling a house. Okay. If you're just going to try a place for for a very small time, maybe you want to go into Holiday Inn or rent homes through Airbnb. Those are all the options available to you. The important thing to understand is all these options are available to you and you are in total control to make your life easy. Okay. Should you pay off your mortgage? This was the question that I got a lot when the rates were, in the last 10 years, the rates have been really low. So should you pay off the mortgage? My answer, and it might not be applicable to everyone, but my standard answer for that is yes. The concept is to go debt-free into your retirement. So it is a fallacy to think if you have $100,000 in your bank account and you owe $70,000 to the bank, that your $100,000 is your net worth. No, you still owe $70,000, so your net worth is $30,000, right? Also with mortgages, 30% of your living expenses goes in mortgage. So as you are entering retirement, you want to free up those expenses. Also, the way the amortization schedule with mortgages works is you might have a mortgage for 15 years or 30 years and your monthly payment might remain the same. But what you're essentially doing is during the beginning of the years, you're paying more in interest and less in capital. And at the end of your mortgage cycle, you're paying more in capital and less in interest. So there is not much tax savings there. Okay. So in my opinion, everybody should be debt free before they enter retirement, if possible. The last question on this slide is, can you define what you need in terms of living space at a bare minimum to be happy? I think this applies pretty much to anything in life, right? What do you need bare minimum to be happy? When we sit down with clients, what we like to do is we like to divide the expenses in 3 categories: needs, wants, and wishes. Needs are very specific: your living expenses and your healthcare, right? Then comes your wants. Maybe you need home improvements. Maybe you need another car in retirement. So those are wants. And your wishes, they are endless. You may want to take that exotic vacation. You may want to buy a very expensive car. You may want to build a very beautiful home. Whatever it might be, but the wishes are always endless. I have seen in my experience, a lot of people, as soon as they retire, they start working on their wishes and they spend a lot of money in their initial years without taking into account how much money and how much assets would they need for the needs and wants. So it is important that you divide your expenses in these 3 categories and you make sure that you keep enough assets during your lifetime to fulfill those needs and wants. Every time I talk about wishes, there is a very popular couplet that comes to my mind. It's written by a very famous poet in my culture, Ghalib, but I have translated that in English for you. So the way the couplet goes is, thousands of wishes I have, and every wish is worth dying for. Only wishes can be in thousands, right? So thousands of wishes I have, and every wish is worth dying for. A lot of my wishes have come true, but I still wish for some more. So the reason I say this is because wishes, once you fulfill one, another one appears. So rather than going after wishes, it's important that you take care of your needs and wants first. What will you do in retirement? When you conclude your working life, there is something very important that you are earning in retirement, and that is time. And how that time will be spent is very critical. So what will you do in retirement? Are you someone who will be taking a lot of vacation, or somebody who will be spending a lot of time with their grandchildren? Will you be golfing or gardening? As you can imagine, golfing is more expensive than gardening. Taking more vacation is costlier than spending time with grandchildren. A lot of people ask me that, hey, how much money do you think one requires in retirement? And the answer is, it all depends on what are you going to do in retirement. It's all about income and expenses. What are your expenses in retirement? And measure that against the income that your assets are going to generate in retirement, right? My mom, she wanted to become a doctor, but a medical doctor. And the way of the world was such back then was that she was not allowed to study and to get that education. So she was a homemaker all her life. After she raised her 3 children and we all went our own way, she took up studies in retirement. Okay, she finished her PhD, so she added that doctor in front of her name, and now she is in the process of publishing 2 books. So what brings purpose and meaning to your life is important, and it's important to understand that and to work towards that, because that is going to bring a true fruitful retirement. Okay. Next question that every retiree should ask is, how much will healthcare and long-term care cost? Healthcare costs are the top retirement concerns for Americans. Most Americans spend 50% of their total lifetime healthcare cost in the last 2 years of their lives. In 2010, according to a Fidelity survey, an average couple age 62 will spend more than $250,000 in healthcare expenses on premiums, co-payments, and expenses that are not covered by healthcare insurance. Now, this is in 2010. Can you imagine what it would be in 2023? My guess is close to $500,000, right? So healthcare costs are just one part of the equations. Your hospitalization, surgeries, orthopedics, any kind of that stuff is healthcare. But think of a situation where you don't need help with healthcare, but you need help with long-term care, with activities of daily living. What are these activities of daily living? Eating, dressing, bathing, transferring, toileting, and continence. So if you cannot do 2 of these 6 activities of daily living, then you are eligible for something called as long-term care insurance only if you have that insurance. Okay. Medicare, it will take care of 20 days, the first 20 days of rehabilitation. After that, 80 days will be covered by your supplement plans. And if you still need care, long-term care after that, you're pretty much on your own. Okay, it straight comes out of your saving. So everyone needs to have a long-term retirement plan. Long-term care insurance is expensive. So I don't say that everybody should have a long-term care insurance, but everybody should have a plan. What is your plan? If you unfortunately need long-term care, where is the money going to come from? Is it going to come from your savings? The cost of nursing home is upwards of what? $8,000, $12,000. The cost of assisted living is close to $5,000 to $6,000. And even if you have care at home, that cost is also very expensive. So where is this money coming from? Your personal savings, or do you have a family that you can depend on? If family is your long-term care plan, then you should talk to your family about it. Okay, you should have this conversation. Are you going to depend on the government, Medicaid? That's one of the options, but not everybody is eligible for Medicaid. The guidelines are very stringent. I think it's close to $2,000 in personal assets. So to be eligible to go on Medicaid, you should have assets of only $2,000. That's it. So as you can imagine, few $1,000s in expense will not hurt anyone, but tens and thousands of dollars will definitely put a dent to anyone's retirement plan. So what is your long-term care plan? The next question is, how will you handle Social Security? You may think of Social Security as a very simple thing. You sign a form around your 65th birthday, then sit back and cash the checks. But the truth is, there are many decisions to make when it comes to Social Security benefits. The manner and timing in which you will claim your Social Security benefits will impact the level of income you will receive through Social Security for the rest of your life and possibly your spouse's. So what age are you eligible to receive Social Security? For most Americans, that age is 62. But if you want full retirement benefits, the full retirement benefits depends on your full retirement age. And that full retirement age is based on your birth year. So if you're someone who is born before 1954, then 66 is your full retirement age. For someone born after 1960, your full retirement age is 67. Between 1954 and 1960, your retirement age is between 66 and 67. Okay, a lot of people think 65 as full retirement age. No, that's the age when you are eligible to receive Medicare. They didn't change that age, but Social Security benefits is now for most people between age 66 and 67. Now, let's just assume that your full retirement age is 66 and you are eligible to receive $1,000 per month in Social Security benefits. If you take those benefits at age 62, which is called early retirement benefit, then your monthly benefits will be reduced by a substantial amount, by almost 25%. So that $1,000 will become $750 at age 62. On the flip side, you can delay your Social Security benefits till the age 70. Every year in delay will increase your Social Security benefits by 8%. I'm in the business of financial planning and I'm the chief investment officer of my company. And I don't know any investment that gives you guaranteed 8% rate of return. If you delay your Social Security beyond your full retirement age, every year you get 8% increment. After age 70, there is no benefit in delaying your Social Security benefits, which means that by 70, you should start taking your Social Security. Okay. So mathematically, it might make more sense to at least delay the high wage earners of the family to delay their Social Security benefits. If married, what happens to Social Security when one spouse dies? So a spouse is eligible to receive 50% of the high wage earners' Social Security benefits, irrespective of their own earnings record. Okay. So, for example, $1,000, the spouse of the person getting $1,000 in Social Security benefits is eligible to receive at least $500 in Social Security benefits. Okay. We actually do a 1-hour presentation on Social Security. It's difficult to, put everything into this, 10 minutes, but if you are interested, you can request your library and I'll be more than happy to do a 1-hour presentation just on Social Security. But Social Security, what happens when, one of the spouses die? Well, the surviving spouse is eligible to receive the higher of the two payments. Okay. The important thing to consider here is that when one spouse dies, they lose one stream of income from Social Security, which is approximately 33%. Okay. That's a huge reduction in your Social Security income when one spouse dies. In my experience, when a spouse dies, it's not, I've never seen that the living expenses go down. The surviving spouse still lives in the same house. They pretty much have the same Social Security, same utility cost. A lot of things remain the same. Okay. So it is important to account for that and plan accordingly. What we do is, as financial planners, we do a Social Security analysis for our clients. And if anyone interested who is attending today's presentation, if you email me the statements of yours and your spouse's Social Security statement, I'll be more than happy to do that analysis for you. So you can see the manner and timing in which you claim your Social Security and how to maximize it. Okay. Any questions on Social Security or long-term care? Are there any questions in the chats? I don't see that. Ashley, if there are any, just let me know.
I don't see any in the chat yet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. You have philanthropic goals. Now, philanthropic goals could be family-based, or it could be geared towards a charity. If you are somebody who does charity to any particular organization, then there are a lot of tax strategies that we can plan. Most of the families that we work with, their charity begins and ends with family, which is a beautiful thing. Okay, they want to give the best start to their children, to their grandchildren, and that's where their charity ends. But so if you are someone who says that, I have this house and no matter what, this house should go to my 3 children, then you should take that house out of your retirement plan, because you're not going to use those assets in your retirement plan. So that should be eliminated from your retirement plan. That particular asset should be eliminated from your retirement plan. So if you have philanthropic goals, it is important that you take that into account in your retirement plan. Okay. You have can I afford to retire? Last question. Do you know exactly how much money you will need to produce a lifestyle sustaining income? Well, the answer to this question is the answer that you give to the first 9 questions. How long are you going to live? How long are you going to work? Are you a spender or saver? A lot of times people ask me whether they should do a Roth 401k or a traditional 401k. And the answer to that is, if you are going to spend all the money, if you're a spender, you're going to spend the money, might as well pay the retirement and let the assets grow tax-free, right? So what kind of spending habits you have? Where are you going to live? Your health conditions, your social security. Do you have philanthropic goals? So what we do is we ask all these questions and we use a software which tells us your monthly expenses in retirement. We measure that number with the number that will tell us your income through the assets. If your expenses in retirement are more than the income that your assets are going to generate, then we need to find a way to either dial down your expenses or find a way to increase your assets. One of the other two has to happen. If your expenses are less than your income, that's what we want to know, with a certain margin of safety. To each one of us, these numbers are going to look different. You know, it's going to look different for me. It's going to look different for Ashley. It's going to look different for, someone of you who is attending the presentation. So again, this number is not something that is carved in stone. Any retirement plan that we create has to be flexible. Life happens, circumstances change, and a good retirement plan is a plan that can incorporate all this life changes without rocking the retirement boat. What they say is, man plans and God laughs. So it is important that you plan and this expenses and your incomes as you enter retirement. Okay. Any questions so far? I see. Okay, I see this question. I have long-term care insurance, but there is no final payment on the policy. Do I continue to pay that amount annually until I can no longer pay for? Okay, let me read that question again aloud. I have long-term care insurance, but there is no final payment on the policy. Do I continue to pay that amount annually until I can no longer pay for it? New policies are difficult to get. I have to look into this policy. It looks like you have a traditional long-term care policy. This is a policy who needs life. Can he provide us? Okay. So if you have a traditional long-term care policy, your monthly premiums are going, or your annual premiums are going to change every year. Okay. This policy is pretty much, I'm sorry to say, but it is no longer that useful, and we don't write it. And we don't recommend it to anyone. So I cannot make a decision whether you should pay for it or not. Okay. Yes, new policies are difficult to get because it again depends on your health condition. Now, can he provide a simple definition of life insurance plans and who needs life insurance? So I was talking about long-term care. Life insurance is something that replaces you in an event you die early, right? So there are different kinds of life insurance, term insurance, whole life, universal life, but term insurance being the basic one, all it does is it replaces if you die early. Okay. But long-term care insurance is different. Both spouses collect social security checks and one passes, will the other still receive the 50%? No, the other will receive the higher of the two. So let's just take this example of $1,000. If somebody was collecting $1,000 and the spouse was collecting $500, if the spouse collecting $1,000 dies, the surviving spouse will get $1,000. Okay, but the important thing to remember is you will lose one stream of income. So the income from Social Security was $1,500. When one spouse dies, it's just going to be $1,000, which is a reduction of 30%. Yes, if you can, please remind us of Mr. Dosh's offer to analyze attendees' social security plans. Yes, so you can email to Ashley your social security statements, and I'll be more than happy to analyze that for you. The best time to purchase long-term care insurance, where it's least expensive. The best time to purchase any insurance is when you don't need it. Okay, so when you're young, when you are healthy, is when you want to buy long-term care insurance. My partner, he is 55. He bought his long-term care policy 3 years ago. Okay, so he was young, he was in good health, and that's when he got his policy. So that's when it is least expensive. If I have a life insurance term over $100,000 and do not need any more, should I sell policy? Who purchases this types of policies? Again, I don't want to make any personal recommendation, but you cannot sell your life if I mean, I don't know. Okay, sell policy. I don't want to make a recommendation of whether you want to sell the policy. Who purchases these types of policies? So I'm assuming that you are talking about term policy. If a term policy replaces you in an event you die early, right? So it replaces you in terms of what you bring in for the family. So if you have young children, you may want to insure yourself for a higher face value. And when your responsibilities are less, you can insure yourself for a lower amount. Okay. And if you have a term policy and if you don't need it anymore, you can just stop paying the premiums and the policy will expire. Let me just, I think the questions disappear. Okay, it's the open questions are okay. Because the questions disappear on me and there are only 2 open questions. Okay, I'm learning this technology, so bear with me. I think I have answered all the questions.
Yeah, I've been answering them as you've been going, so
Okay.
they should be all cleared out. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. We also do a seminar on healthcare and retirement. So if anyone is interested in that, we will be more than happy to do 1-hour seminar on healthcare and retirement, where we talk about long-term care policies in detail. We talk about Medicare and the different plans. So if you again, I'll be more than happy to spend more time answering your questions. And if you can email me your questions if you get anything after this presentation. I think this concludes our today's presentation. So thank you for your time and attention.
Yeah, that was great. People always have so many questions about the long-term care just because it's an expense. It is a very big expense for people, and people need it. It comes in handy when you want to be comfortable. So you'll have to let me know if you have more sessions on that sort of topic, and we can talk about bringing that to the library. But I very much appreciate your time and your expertise on this, and you're answering all of these questions. Yeah, he's shared his email and contact information there, so you're all welcome to reach out to JD at if you'd like to move forward with his services, or if you have just extra questions about what he talked about tonight. Like I mentioned, am recording this session, so I'll be able to share this with everyone in an email afterwards, and we really appreciate it if you share it with your friends and family who might be able to learn from it tonight. So with that, we will say goodnight and thank you. It was really nice meeting you, and everybody have a great evening.
Everyone wish you a very happy retirement.
Yes, good night.